Good afternoon, everyone. We are very excited to have you for today's session, Supercharging Data Analytics with GenAI, Innovation and Application, conducted by GDE Visit in coordination with Visit Research Forum under the guidance of Department of Computer Engineering, Visit IIC and IQAC. We are very grateful to have our speaker here today, Mr. Nirav Kothari. He is a senior technical architect at Quantiphi. Along with that, he is also a Google developer expert, and he is a co-organizer with GDG Cloud Mumbai. He is also an expert in data analytics. So I request sir to please take the stage.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. How was the lunch? अभी नींद आ रही होगी ना अच्छी खासी? नहीं? Okay. No, so I'll try my best कि आपको सोने ना दूँ at least for next 1 hour. I hope Hindi, English both mix is okay. Yes? Okay, good. I think most of you, team here has already given a little bit of brief about me, but just a couple of more points that I would like to add to what they mentioned. I started my career way back when you guys were not even existing in this world. I completed my engineering in 2004, and since then I've been working into IT field, working on multiple roles. Software developer, data engineer, architect, then ML architect. I worked on many different fields. Even talking about software development, I worked on many technologies like C, C++. You probably will not get a chance to ever work on those kind of technologies now. But then Java, Python, and a lot of other technologies. I am a Google developer expert, which is a title given by Google itself. So as a part of that title, I've been going to various cities, countries, giving various types of talks, giving some kind of workshops. I've been helping many startups to define their cloud strategy, how they should get started on these technologies, okay? So, and writing blogs and many other things. So that's about me. Some more insights about me. So I've been working on a company with a company called Quantiphi Analytics, and that company is basically into IT development, especially focusing on they are actually a partner of Google Cloud. So what happens is a lot of organizations who want to implement cloud-based systems, they would reach out to Google Cloud saying that we want to implement so and so IT systems using Google Cloud. Of course, Google Cloud is not going to go and implement systems at their end, so they pass it on to partners. So we are the premium partner of Google Cloud, and that's how we get a lot of new businesses, and then we implement for those clients. But the good part about any IT industry or services industries is that you're not strict to one particular use case. You are exposed to so many different projects. So on an average, we've been working on a new project every 3 to 4 months. So every 3-4 months, you get to see a new use case. You understand that what kind of IT systems are different companies, different industries are building, right? So that way, it becomes your experience becomes much more enriching as you move on. All that I have talked about here probably is irrelevant. Okay. What's most important about me or about this page is that this part. Just remember this name. They are heavily recruiting at this moment. Probably that will be helpful to you. Okay. So, and by the way, all of you are, I think, from computer engineering. Is that correct? Yes. How many of you have learned a subject called data engineering? All of you, right? Okay. How many of you know that how many different types of roles are there after you, let's say you complete your engineering, you get into industry? What kind of different roles you can get? Software developer, okay, great. Data analyst, okay, fine. That's it. Data engineer, okay. Is there a difference between analyst and engineer? Okay, awesome. Good if you guys know, very good. Okay, what else? Data scientist, yes. So data scientist, sometimes it is ML engineer or those kind of roles are also referred to as. What else? Test engineer, perfect, yes. There's something called as platform engineer also. Do you guys know about that? Have you heard about DevOps? So whoever is expert into that, they are called platform engineering. So think of it like 4 different streams. One, software development, okay, which is mainly about front end and back end. Back end is Python, Java, C++. Front end is your React and HTML, CSS. All that is front end. So, but both of this is under software engineering. The second is data engineering, which is all related to your SQL, analytics, BI engineering. That is all data engineering. Third, platform engineering. It is all about your CI/CD, DevOps, security. All of that comes under platform engineering. And the fourth is ML engineering, ML or AI or whatever you say. Okay, that is data scientist. So these are the majorly four streams you can think of when you talk about development. QA is separate. Okay, these are the four lines. Okay, not very relevant to current topic. Just wanted to give you an insight about that. Let's forget about this slide. Okay, let's move on. Today I'm going to talk about data engineering and data analytics. A little bit on AI as well, but that will be followed by this. But let me start with data and analytics first. Now, what is data engineering for you? Anyone would like to take a guess? Okay, you guys have passed the subject, right? Or not? Okay. Sorry? Cleaning the data. Okay, makes sense. That's it? Pre-processing. Okay. That's it? What do you do with the data? Sorry? Extracting information from data. Definitely, yes. So everything you do with data is called data engineering. You bring the data, you store the data, you process the data, and make the data available for other use cases, downstream use cases, is called data engineering. Okay? When I say data analytics, what does that mean then? Exactly. So once data engineers have brought the data and kept it in the format that can be used by others, that's where the data engineer's role ends. But then data analyst's role starts, right? It will read the data, whatever this fellow has kept it, and then analyze the data. And by analyzing, what is he going to do? Going to take out some meaningful insights out of it. For example, some examples I'll give you. Which area my product is doing well. Let me focus there. So who's going to answer that? Your data is going to answer. But for that, you need a data analyst who can analyze this data. Or for example, what period of the year when my sales go down? Who's going to do this analysis? A data analyst. So that's how you have to understand what is data engineer's role and what is data analyst's role. Moving on. Let me explain you how does data come into your system. Okay. When you talk about, let's say you're building a small application, you're having your database. You start storing your data into database. Is that all? No, that's just a starting point. The screen that you're going to see next will show you the entirety of what data means. What all things will you have to do when you say that हम बहुत easily बोल देते हैं अरे ये कंपनी के पास डेटाबेस में हमारा डेटा पड़ा हुआ है, राइट? ऐसा बोल देते हैं. बट वो डेटा आता कहाँ से? वो लोग कितना कुछ प्रोसेस करते हैं, वो आपको ये नेक्स्ट स्लाइड देख के पता चलेगा. Let me move on. Is it readable at the back? Response is very ठंडा है. Come on. Readable? No. Shall I zoom in? Give me a second. हो गया? Okay. अभी readable है?
Yes.
Okay. So let's assume that you guys have created application. Most of you guys would have created as a project, correct? कहीं ना कहीं कुछ project बनाया होगा, third year engineering, fourth year engineering, right? That application could be a mobile application or a web application, right? But behind the scene, you would need a database to store the data. What kind of data you can store in database? Structured data. But example of that, for example, login information. For example, your कुछ भी transaction किया आपने, वो data होगा. या फिर Amazon है, for example, right? So Amazon would store its product का data, billing का data, addresses, whatnot, right? All of that they would store somewhere. And where would they store? They would store it in their respective database. But this is called monolithic application. एक application, एक database, everything comes under this. To you guys, it must be like, हाँ हम लोग सिर्फ Amazon application on कर रहे हैं. What's this? I think you need to make me present. I don't know why. Can I listen? Okay. I think. Okay, fine. So to you guys, it must feel like हम लोग एक Amazon application open कर रहे हैं, right? But behind the scene, Amazon has many small web applications. For shipping page, there is one application. For product catalog, there is another application. For billing, for product catalog, or whatever you say, for cart, they would have a separate applications for each of this. And that's what is called as microservices architecture. Give me a second. So earlier we talked about one application, one database. Now we are talking about microservices architecture, where every small application is a separate application and each application has its own database. So product ka application will store product catalog in his own database. Similarly, shipping data would be shipping will be handled by this application and would be stored in another database. So that's why this is called as microservices architecture. Each application is a small application. Okay. Now look at what I'm trying to show is, look at how your application started with a small application you might have created as a small hobby project, but then later on when it goes into the corporate level kind of application, what all things you will have to do. That's what I'm trying to show here. Then what happens is, it's not very visible, but you guys will. Okay. What will happen is, you had multiple databases. From each of these databases, what will happen is you will extract data and store it in one big database, which we call it as data warehouse. Why data warehouse? Because let's say if I'm only having product catalog in this database and cost related data into this database, and if I want to analyze something like, what is the cost or what is the revenue that I'm getting from so and so country or so and so city, because these two are contained in two different databases, I will never be able to query them in one. I'll not be able to analyze them together, right? And hence, what I need to do is, I need to bring all this data into one large database, which we call it as data warehouse. So you got the purpose of data warehouse? Yes, Steve? Yes. Okay. But how will you bring the data from database to data warehouse? It's called something using ETL. That stands for? Extract, transform, load. Perfect. You guys are already expert. We don't need this lecture, yeah? Okay. So you already know the concept of ETL. Let's move on. Can you scroll a little bit more? Yeah. Now, what do I do? Once I have collected all my data into data warehouse, okay? What do I do with that? The most natural thing that I can do with that is BI reporting. What does BI reporting mean? Anyone knows? Nobody knows. BI stands for business intelligence. What does it do? Data analytics. So basically, it will come with a dashboards where you can show all your graphs, trends, say for example, sales over last 12 months, or for example, your costing over the years, or for example, your employees, or maybe whatnot, whatever dashboards that trends you want to show, all that you can show on BI reporting. So that's the natural use case of building a data warehouse. Okay, that's the most natural, downstream consumption of your data warehouse data. Okay, let's move on. What happens generally when you let's say you reach to certain scale? Initially, you started your project as a hobby project, right? And then you implemented data warehouse, you implemented BI. Now what happens is, slowly you want to add more and more features to your application. You want more and more data to come in. So there will be many, enterprise applications from where you would start ingesting data. For example, HRMS, HR related data, ERP data, customer relationship related data, all that data, and these are all enterprise applications, okay? You are not going to build this, but you might have heard about Salesforce or SAP, all these are enterprise applications, okay? So that's not actually your end product, your actual application. Amazon, these are not Amazon. Amazon application is this. But when Amazon at the back end stores the data, it must be getting data from all other sources, right? And that's what I'm trying to represent here. You might have n number of enterprise applications from where you will start ingesting data. Where will you store it? Again, data warehouse. Data warehouse is like your central repository of all your data. Getting the concept? So why I'm telling this? Ultimately, the more the data you ingest into data warehouse, you will have more flexibility to show on your BI reports. You can enrich more. For example, you can do this kind of thing. Sales data is coming from your application, for example, but you want to find out that how many employees contributed to that sale. So you will start ingesting employee data from here, sales data coming from here, and then you can show all your reports collectively on the single dashboard. So that's the reason. The ideology is you start ingesting more and more data to your data warehouse so that you can analyze more data and you can take informed decisions. Let's move on. What is this then? Data marts. Anyone knows? We heard about database. We looked at data warehouse. Now what is this data marts? Functionality? What? Departments, yes. So data warehouse, you are storing everything. But data marts, you generally store very specific to particular department. For example, it's just a subset. Data mart is just a subset of data warehouse. You start storing, say, account related data in one mart, sales related data in another mart, and that's how you start creating data marts. Why? Why do I need to do that? Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Why do I need data marts? No? No one knows? Okay. Data marts are required because whenever BI reporting tries to analyze this data, he doesn't have to scan entire data because this is a huge repository of data. Your processing will become slow. So you generally try to keep small data marts for each department. So whenever a dashboard related to sales is queried, it will only go and query one particular mart. So because it is scanning less amount of data, your processing will be much faster. तो फिर कोई complaint नहीं करेगा, अरे dashboard बहुत slow refresh हो रहा है, right? So that's the reason you need data marts. Clear till now? Okay, let's move on. By the way, by each and every element that we are, I'm introducing, you guys are looking at कि तुम्हारा system कितना complex बनते जा रहा है. It started with a small web application, but देखते जाओ कि system कितना complex बनते जा रहा है. Move on. Okay. There were few, let's say तुम्हारी applications चल रही है यहाँ पर, उसके कुछ logs वगैरह create होंगे, server के logs होंगे, application के logs होंगे. Those also you will start ingesting data into your data platform. There will be few images, videos, कुछ ना कुछ अभी तो सब जगह पर ये सब डेटा भी unstructured data is also getting ingested, right? तो ये हम लोग ये भी this kind of data will start pushing into data platform, right? And then by doing so, what will happen now is because now you are storing unstructured data also, you cannot store it in data warehouse. You need something called as data lake. So that unstructured data as well as all these structured data all will go into data lake first, and only the structured data will go into data warehouse. So think of it, your data platform has become so complex now. You are having 3 layers of the data. First data lake, then you have meaningful data which is data warehouse, and then subsets of everything which is data marts, and then you have end applications. Now let's see how we can enrich the end applications also. One that we have seen till now is BI reporting, but that's not enough. These days, a lot of these organizations are asking, we are ingesting this data, what's the purpose? मैं क्यों करूँ? इतना cost, ये जब तुम करने जाते हो, easily your cost will go up $1 lakh a month, easily. Okay, when you implement all of this. If I'm investing so much, what's the benefit I'm getting? Nothing. If I'm only doing dashboards. Hence, businesses are now moving towards building this predictive and prescriptive analytics, apart from BI analytics. Okay, and this is where all your AI and machine learning comes into picture. Make sense? Clear? Let's move on. Do you see this stream? This is what has been popular these days. There are so many real-time data that is coming in. For example, stock prices. If your product has to take some decision based on what is the stock price of so-and-so company, right? So based on that, या फिर ऐसा भी हो सकता है. Reliance Smart looking at, say for example, Amazon पे वो product कितने में बिक रहा है. So they will keep streaming such data from various sources, and real-time पे they will make the changes in their product, and then they can take the right decision there, right? So real-time feeds are becoming very popular these days, and not just that, ingestion, but also analysis and processing that data. Okay, so now I want to everyone please take a यहाँ पे ध्यान दो 1 minute. How did you start? You started with a small hobby project, small application, just this. We expanded to such a huge platform. This is how all these big applications like Zomato या तुम Swiggy बोल दो या Uber बोल दो, all of that had started with this, and now it is turned into such a huge platform, right? What we are exposed to is only this. Your mobile is only touching these web applications, but behind the scene they have so many such a huge infrastructure. Okay, so now coming to you, tell me what is the role of various of course this is not going to be managed by one employee and not just one role. There will be many roles, but key roles that I wanted to talk about are these 4: app developer, data engineer, BI developer, and ML engineer, right? Now I want you to find out what task of all of this will be performed by which role. Is the question clear to you? The question answer भी नहीं मिल रहा. हाँ या ना भी नहीं बोल. एक जन तो बोल दो. Okay, let's move on. Okay, I'll show you. Let's first talk about app developer. So pink color is app developer, application developer, front end, back end, right? Only this part is a role of a application developer. The green is what is the role of a data engineer, right? So maintaining the database and the health of a database is a responsibility of data engineer. ETL, building the ETL scripts will be responsibility of data engineer. Ingesting data from these logs and these unstructured files will be a responsibility of data engineer. Ingesting data from all these, enterprise applications will be a data engineer's role. Streaming, analysis, and ingestion, again a data engineer's role. Again, maintaining the data platform, data lake, data warehouse, and data marts is a data engineer's job. BI reporting, of course, will be done by a BI developer, BI engineer. Some companies have BI engineer as a separate role, and some companies merge it with data engineer. So data engineers only do the BI reporting. And finally, AI and ML engineer is responsible for predictive and prescriptive analytics on top of all your data, right? So you get the role of data engineer, BI developer, app developer, and ML developer. Getting it, team? Okay. So that's it, yeah. Now, this is going to be a little bit heavy slide for you guys. Probably you may not understand this completely, but think of it like, I talked about ingesting the data, then storing the data, processing the data in your data platform. All of that can be done by a single service in Google Cloud called BigQuery. So you don't need to remember this technology at this moment, but think of it like, whenever a data analytics comes or data warehouse I need to build, BigQuery is the service that you can try exploring. But what I was trying to show in this slide is that BigQuery is not just a data warehouse these days. BigQuery will help you, you can query your data not just by SQL, Python, Spark, Java, you can use all of that. You can do real-time ingestion and processing of your data in BigQuery. You can apply BI and AI analytics on top of BigQuery. It has its own AI capabilities. You can write your ML models right in the BigQuery itself. Now, these days, even unstructured data you can manage using BigQuery. That goes against the data warehouse concepts, but BigQuery is now no more a data warehouse. It's a single, data platform, a uniform data platform. So unstructured data also can be managed using BigQuery. ML models is also handled by BigQuery. And finally, you don't need to maintain your data only in Google Cloud to use BigQuery. Even if you have your data in AWS or Azure, you can process it using BigQuery. So BigQuery don't ask you move your data out to BigQuery just to use BigQuery. You have your data where it is, but you can process it using BigQuery. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's talk about, let's say if you happen to land into data engineering space after your engineering, okay, and you get into some IT companies and you are designated as, let's say, data engineer. What kind of project you are likely to see? Any thoughts? What work you will have to do? Tell me what kind of project you will get. Anyone? No idea? Okay, let's move on. 3 types of projects. There are companies who want to build data warehouse in their organization. And to build the data warehouse, those kind of projects are called data warehousing projects, which is nothing but they would come with some databases. They'll say that here are my databases, here are some other sources that I want to ingest, here are some files. Now you implement a data warehouse on top of this. So what will you have to do is you will have to write some ETL scripts to ingest data from these sources, land it into data warehouse, and then on top of that you will have to enable all this BI reporting, SQL queries, and all the predictive and prescriptive analytics on top of that. So you have to enable this end to end. This is a type of project which is called data warehousing project. Clear, everyone? Second type of project, data migration. What does this mean? Any thoughts? Anyone? What is data migration? No one knows. Come on. Hey, take a wide guess here. Come on. Exactly, that's right. So till now, I mean not now, but early or maybe 2000 or so, 2010, there were many organizations who built their data warehouse on on-prem technologies. You might have heard about Hadoop, Cloudera, or you might have heard about Oracle, Teradata, Netezza. All these are on-prem data warehouses. But that technologies are now diminishing. People are moving towards cloud-based data warehouse. So a lot of projects you would see these days is these organizations want to migrate from on-prem to cloud. Okay, you would slowly see this kind of project going down because a lot of organizations have already migrated. So on-prem to cloud migration would reduce going forward, but cloud to cloud migration will still exist. Today, we are seeing so many migration opportunities, which is migrating from, say, AWS to GCP, Azure to GCP. So cloud to cloud migration will still continue. They may not be okay or satisfied with one cloud, probably want to move to other, or they might have a strategy to implement multi-cloud. some part into AWS, some part into GCP. So this is another type of project comes into picture, data migration. So you have to pull data from multiple, say, databases or their data warehouse, load it into new data warehouse that is on Google Cloud or maybe some other cloud, right? And so here we are supposed to do the historical load, all data they have collected in history, all that you have to move. And second, whatever is new data that is coming in, that you have to repoint to the new data warehouse. So data migration project requires these two activities. And third type of project that you are likely to get is data governance. First I talked about data. First type of project I said data warehousing. Second, data migration. And third, data governance. What is data governance? Let's say your organization has 10 different departments. Okay, accounts, HR, sales, marketing, maybe something else, right? Every department wants to build their own data warehouse. They will build their own data warehouse in its own way. But there has to be some central control over these teams, right? Otherwise, everyone will define their own standards. So defining a common standard across the organization comes under data governance. Plus, if you want to secure your data, all of that comes under data governance. Okay, let's move on. So I wanted to talk about data engineering and data analytics. Few things that I wanted to talk about AI as well. I know these two are not two different topics. They are not gelling exactly with each other, but just that was a request that if we can cover some part of AI as well. So I just wanted to touch upon this. I'm coming, guys, everyone listen here. I'm coming from a IT company, okay, and I've been working as a senior technical architect. Architect, you guys know what is that role? No? Okay. So, okay, when you talk about a project, what kind of team members do you have? Sorry? Project manager, then? Sorry? Nobody knows. Come on. Okay, after engineering, what kind of role you will apply to? Sorry? Sales? No, project. Project is a technical, let's talk about technical team. Let's say you land into, say, Infosys, TCS. You get into a project. And that project, let's say it's a technical project which you are supposed to deliver. What kind of team members you would have? Okay. So one type of developers, as I mentioned, software developers, 4 types of developers, software, platform, data, and ML, right? So those are all developers. Then you would have QA test engineers, right? Then you would have project manager, who would do what? Who would allocate resources, right? Find out people who should be part of it. Second thing you will do is you will create a project plan that what should be delivered every month, etc. Right? So that is project manager. What is business analyst? What does business analyst do? Insights? Business analyst. Huh? Nobody knows what is business analyst. Okay, business analyst is that role. Let's say client tells that I want to build so and so feature. So business analyst is the one who talks to architect, design the solution. So designing the solution comes under architect's perspective. But then after that solution is built on paper, analyst is the one who would create the project plan. What are the task breakup of that, and whom to give those tasks. All of that, business analyst does all these activities. Okay. So and architect, as I mentioned, architect is the one who designs the solution. For that, he has to understand client's requirement, understand what he has not told but it is expected to do, which is called as non-functional requirement. So for example, can someone give one example of non-functional requirement, NFR? Huh?
Responsiveness.
Correct, responsiveness, correct. Customer will always tell you that, I want to build this website. But what if your web page refreshing takes, let's say, 1 minute? Will it be acceptable? No. It is untold expectation that your page should load within few seconds, right? These are called non-functional requirements. It is not defining the function, but it is obvious requirement. So generally these non-functional requirement client will not tell you, but it is architect's responsibility to identify these non-functional requirements and then make sure that these are attained, these are delivered. Okay, so that's architect's role. Okay, not just that, architect is responsible for many other things, but I'll come to that later. But one of the key things for every member of the team, it is expected these days is that you bring productivity in whatever you do. Whether you are a QA engineer, whether you are a developer, your project manager is always going to tell you कितना कर सकते हो. तो तुम बोलोगे अरे एक दिन में मैं मैं एक क्लास लिख के हो जाएगा. Project manager will always say यार एक दिन में 2 हो सकता है क्या, right? How will you bring in this productivity? No matter how confident or how expert you have become in that technology. Let's say you are expert in Python. Your project manager will always expect more than what you can deliver. Okay, and how can you satisfy them? The only way you can satisfy is leveraging tools like AI. Okay, आज AI की वजह से almost 70% of development is happening using AI. When we were learning technologies way back, we used to learn the syntaxes of every programming language. Python में if else statement कैसे लिखना है, class कैसे define करना है. We used to learn this syntax. Today, you guys don't need to learn that. And say you don't need to learn, that does not mean that you don't learn. Okay, it's not necessary. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, but you should learn because AI is helping you write all these codes within minutes. We used to write classes we used to take 1 day or 2 days to build one class, one function. Today it's just a matter of seconds and minutes that you can build those functions. So if you're not leveraging such tools which is existing in market, you will not prevail in this market. Somebody else will come and deliver it at 3 times faster than you, and you guys will not exist in this market. So it's very important. I remember I used to design course materials when engineers pass out and join organizations. We used to design the course material for them for training, right? And it was huge course material, okay? And they used to learn that. But today, we are telling every engineer to learn every technology with the help of AI. We don't tell them that you learn Python right from scratch. You learn Python with AI. We're not telling that you don't need to learn AI, you don't need to learn Python. You need to learn Python, but you need to learn Python with AI. So that's how the world has changed these days, right? The day one when you land into any organization, be it Infosys or TCS or anything, right? You will be taught how to use these LLM tools and then build your whatever you are supposed to do. Okay. So some examples I wanted to give where we have leveraged AI and how we have improved the productivity. Just wanted to give some flashes of that, and probably you can get some inspiration from that. Intentionally, I removed the names of the clients and all. None to quote over here, but this is what it is. There was one loan processing, web platform you can think of, okay, which was a customer, and to them, they come up with some requirement that we already have a system, we have our code, you improve this, right? Now you guys might not have seen this, but it's really a bad time to look at someone's code and understand that. It's really a painful job, but that's where AI helps us to understand what is written in the code. So decipher their legacy code. Second, whenever your code is breaking, it helps us in debugging. It also helps us in creating the documentation of what we built for them. And finally, unit test cases. No customer would expect a deliverable without you have tested it. So if you have tested it, you need to showcase what were your unit test cases. And those test cases were actually developed by AI. So we don't need to actually go and build that. So a lot of time we save by using AI. Another example. I have some 8 to 10 examples to show. American footwear brand, where we took the help from AI for project management also, not just for development and testing, but for project management also. We told them that here is what we want to build. You create the sprints, you create the project plan for us, and it helped us doing so. Of course, development and testing I've already talked about, but important point: 89% of code was developed using AI. And finally, documentation and R&D. Third, a global media and entertainment powerhouse. Almost where they wanted us to build some automated quality checks for the data that they get, and we implemented some quality monitoring checks and all. Finally, it reduced their time to look at the data, debugging and all of that by 50%. So look at the productivity gain that we were getting with the help of AI. Let's move on. I mean, this are not so important, but one of the examples that I want to show you is okay, one of the global theme park and entertainment leader, where their system used to take pictures of whatever rides are there, used to take the pictures of that, and with the help of AI, we are rapidly actually classifying whether that ride is healthy or faulty, right? So and then quickly we used to now we can derive whether if it is faulty, then stop that. Earlier this process used to take like 4 to 5 hours of manual job, Now it's taking like 10 minutes. So look at the automation productivity that you get with AI these days, right? So think of like anything that you are doing manually today. Can you leverage AI to build that? This is something that you should always have on top of your head. Again, leading travel booking platform. We now, of course, this shows that for this project we had to have all types of engineers: data engineers, platform engineers, software engineers, and ML engineers. For every engineer, AI has helped us building some pipelines for data engineers. For platform engineer, it builds CI/CD pipelines. All the configurations, infrastructure as code, all of that is built using AI now. For software engineers, the UI code, everything was built using AI. And finally, for ML engineers also, it helped us a lot. So that's about some of the examples that I wanted to give. And pretty much this is what I wanted to talk to you about, where you can leverage AI. I have, as a part of this curriculum, I mean, have you guys been exposed to AI now? Yes. Okay. Some examples, can you guys give me where you are leveraging it? Or you are just learning it? Or assignment complete in it? Yes. Teachers, assignment complete, AI se ho raha hai aajkal. Mini projects using AI. Okay. Anything else? Assignments? नहीं? No? आजकल तो वो भी होता है, हैंड राइटिंग भी हमारा सिर्फ कॉपी हो जाता है. मेरे हैंड राइटिंग में ही असाइनमेंट प्रिंट करके दे दो. So even that kind of possibilities are there. Okay. So that's about that's it that I wanted to talk about. Any questions that you have on data engineering, AI? I actually wanted to give you a demo where I used to do data engineering, but with the help of AI. So I wanted to showcase that, but I don't think we have time today. Maybe we can take it up in some follow-up session or something. But I can show it to you guys. Okay. Any questions?
So how do you look at the job market for this one?
Yeah. So of course, see, job market is always hot. Even today, don't go on the words like there are so many layoffs and all. It's just that